in order to design different types of report, here in the report object we have show designer macro command, and if we double click on this record, after some time that will open up a report designer screen. And as you can see, the properties on this screen are standard, so it's easy to create a report here. For example, let's drag this label icon here. We can overwrite this default text. For example, I'm gonna name this report, let's say, my report. And also we can change font of this text, the font style, and the size as well. For example, we can make this text bold italic. We can change its size to 12. We can underline it as well, and so on. These are tools which all of those report designers have. And also, if you click on this button, after some time, you can see the preview of this report, and you can move back to the designer screen by clicking here. And don't forget to save these changes by using this button before you close this screen, or if you close it, you should press yes here. However, in order to save those changes not only in the macro but also in the database, you must save this macro as well. And here in the report object we have two more macro commands. The first is a preview, which allows us to display our report in order to see how it will look when you print it. And the second one is a print, which allows us to print out this report. And in this preview macro command, we should specify the name of the report we want to preview. So let's specify report 1 in this case, which we just designed in the report designer. And if we run this macro, that will open up the screen of preview with our report on it. And it's easy to understand that we can have more than one report designer and the same number of previews in this macro. Now let's take a look at how we can get some values in our report. So we can get those values from the business object, from the owner business object, for example. First, let's get information about the owner from the database. And then we can get, let's say, owner's code and the name. We should get this data first, and only after that we can design this report and preview it. And in order to give the report designer information about these variables, we should run the macro. We can run it by using this button or by using the F8 key. And now Let's move back to the report designer screen. And look at this field list page where we can see these variables and their parameters, those we had in the macro variable 1, 2, and 3. And in order to make sure that these variables here and those in the macro are the same, and also to recognize and analyze them easily, let's rename them in the macro. It helps if we choose the name which describes this variable. For example, we can name this variable owner code, and this one owner name. And if we run this macro again, and if we enter this report designer macro and the field list page, we'll see those variables. Now we can drag these variables and the reports header. Let's enlarge this cell. And now we can preview this report because we've already executed this macro, so it gets the values of those variables, and our report designer takes those variables with their values. And let's save this report and this macro as well. Now we can close this macro and we can run it from any location, for example from here, and you can see our report. Now let's look at how we can get tables in the report designer. So let's use account business objects, get data table macro command. Let's move it up, and I'm gonna name this table accounts. Now let's set breakpoint here and run this macro, and we can see these variables here as well as this table. Now let's break macro execution, open report designer screen, and on the field list page we can see the table accounts with all its values. Now we can fill out this detailed area which is connected with the chart of accounts table. So we need to insert detailed report connected with the table accounts. Let's minimize this upper area, and then here in the detailed area connected with the table accounts, we can drag, for example, account number, and let's say name. Let's increase this cell, and let's shrink this detail area in order to link the records together. And now if we preview this report, we will see the list of accounts here. And this table also needs a header. So let's move to the designer and let's draw the header as well. Now in the first cell, let's write account name, and the second cell, we don't need this third one, so I'm gonna delete this column. Let's enlarge this cell. And also we can change appearance of these cells. We can apply different styles to them. For example, in the first cell, we can choose middle center text alignment, and the same in the second cell. We can also select both of those cells and apply borders to them. We can apply the same border style to the records which we have in the detail area. And now if we preview this report, it will look like this. And notice that in some record, and this one, for example, a vertical size of the right cell is increased because this text is too long, so we need to increase the size of the left cell as well. For that, we should move to the designer, and the left cell, we need to anchor vertical size in both top and bottom position. And if we preview this report again, we will see that both sides are enlarged. And also there are various tools in the report designer. For example, we can add page number to this report. So we should right click in the detail area, insert band, and choose page footer. And then we can press here and drag this page info icon here in order to move information to each page. Let's preview. And at the bottom of each page, you can see how many pages we have in our report and what is the number of page we're looking at. Now let's save this report. And don't forget to save this macro as well. So now this macro is ready to display the chart of accounts with its header and footer. But in order to let the users to choose whether they want to preview the report first or print it right away, after this show designer macro command, we can use withered objects. Ready button macro, and in this parameter we should specify preview or print. And then let's display the wizard. And in order to analyze this variable too, we need to use conditions. So at the end of this macro, let's use, for example, if then else statement. And let's tell here if variable 2 is equal to 1, then let's preview this report. But if not, then let's print it right away. So from report object, we need to use this print macro command. Let's specify report 1 here as well. Now let's run this macro. So first it gets data from this table. Then a report designer creates this report. And the wizard form is ready. So now we can choose whether we want to preview or print our report. And if we choose preview and press OK, we will see the preview of our report after we exit this loop.